Welcome to Dejobnik, your command post for clarity and perspective.
This report confirms what we already have known for 5 months, that Hamas and the other Gaza terror groups raped, abused, shot, and committed other heinous atrocities against the murder victims and the hostages, both female and male. This is now definitive recognition that Hamas committed sexual crimes. But now, Israel calls for the immediate of designating Hamas as a terrorist organization. The United Nations must impose international sanctions on Hamas. As we prepare for International Women's Day later this week, many have spent the last 5 months downplaying, denying, and ultimately delegitimizing the victims of these horrific crimes. Now, even the UN recognizes Hamas's horrific sexual crimes. We simply ask the question, wouldn't now be a great time to investigate UNRWA? On UNRWA, the more we investigate, the more we find, the more we release to you. Last night, the IDF released details of an UNRWA teacher boasting about kidnapping Israeli women. He described the innocent Israeli civilian female as, quote, a prized horse. The incriminating recording is further evidence that UNRWA staff took part in the October 7th massacre. Just to be clear, these were educators from UNRWA schools participating in the heinous massacre on October 7th. IDF intel has revealed 450 terrorists in Gaza, mostly from Hamas, are also employed by UNRWA. UNRWA must be replaced now with other organizations which have not been tainted by their support for terrorism. The IDF confirmed that it had destroyed the largest terror tunnel discovered in Gaza to date. Confirmed that just today. I have been in that tunnel. I saw that tunnel with my own eyes, wide enough to drive a jeep through. Indeed, we released a video of Yahya Sinwar's brother doing just that. Billions in foreign aid has been sunk into the Gaza terror tunnel network, which is more than twice the size of the London Underground. Money that could have gone to build schools and hospitals was spent on death and destruction. Make no mistake, this particular tunnel was built with the explicit intent of attacking Israel on a massive scale. Israelis will sleep better knowing that it's been destroyed. Next, a further update from our ongoing efforts to defeat Hamas in Gaza. Yesterday and today, in the Hamad area in western Khan Yunis, IDF raids apprehended dozens of Hamas and Islamic Jihad terrorists. The terrorists were hiding in plain sight among the civilian population attempting to flee the area. This, in itself, is a war crime. In central Gaza, the IDF eliminated around 20 terrorists over the past day through the use of sniper fire, tank fire, and UAVs. In Bet Hanun, a terrorist cell that was operating a drone aimed at our troops was eliminated. All the while, over the last 24 hours, the Air Force carried out 50 precise strikes on Hamas terror targets throughout Gaza. We struck launch posts, weapons storage facilities, tunnel shafts, and Hamas military infrastructure. Now, an update from Israel's northern border. Yesterday's Hezbollah anti-tank fire and launches into Israel claimed the life of an Indian national and injured 2 others. This cowardly Hezbollah terror hit peaceful workers cultivating an orchard in the village of Magaliot. Indian media are reporting that Patni bin Maxwell, aged 31, was killed. He arrived in Israel 2 months ago and is survived by his 5-year-old daughter and wife, who is 7 months pregnant. The people of Israel stand shoulder to shoulder with the Maxwell family and the people of India in their time of grief. Israeli medical institutions are completely at the service of the injured, who are being treated by our very best medical staff. Israel regards equally all nationals, Israeli or foreign, who are injured or killed due to terrorism. We will be there to support the families and offer them assistance. Our countries, who are sadly well versed in civilian loss, stand united in hopes of a speedy recovery for the injured and solace for the family of the bereaved. Sirens sounded last night as 10 launches crossed from Lebanon into Israel. The launches, which would have fallen in populated areas, were intercepted, and no injuries were reported. IDF fighter jets have struck a series of Hezbollah terror targets in the area of Bint Jebel, Sultaniya, and Sedikin. We are operating to restore security to the residents of the north. Israel continues to respond with force to any Hezbollah acts of aggression. Hezbollah is acting at the guidance and encouragement of Iran. While we remain open to a diplomatic solution, if possible, if Hezbollah pushes us into an expanded military campaign, we will respond with such force that Lebanon will be set back by years. Now an update from Kogat. Yesterday alone, 4,160 tons of food were transferred to Gaza. 5,580 tons of humanitarian aid was transferred on Monday, including food, water, medical supplies, and shelter equipment. We say again, there is no limit to the amount of aid that can enter Gaza. This morning, we sent 50 incubators designed for hospitals in northern and southern Gaza Strip. The incubators, donated by UNICEF, will be delivered to the following hospitals: Shifa Hospital, Kamal Adwan Hospital, European Hospital, Nasser Hospital, and Aqsa Hospital. A convoy carrying food was coordinated to the northern Gaza Strip. Yesterday, 4 tankers of cooking gas and 3 tankers of fuel went into Gaza. Today, between the hours of 10 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the IDF will pause operations in the Sheikh Al-Yamini West neighborhood in Deir el-Balah, central Gaza Strip, in order to enable movement of humanitarian aid. That brings us to the end of today's briefing. I will now take your questions. Please type them in the chat and let us know what outlet you're with. Thank you.
Thank you. First question from Jody Cohen, World is One News in India. What is the government doing to ensure that foreign workers from India and other countries are protected from cross-border attacks when they come to work in Israel?
The government of Israel is doing their utmost to restore peace and security on the northern and southern borders of Israel, with threats from Hezbollah and Hamas. As far as those foreign nationals, including our dear friends and allies, the Indians, which were affected by yesterday's attack, we will do our utmost to give the very best Israeli medical attention and care from our finest doctors and medical staff to those injured, and we will do our utmost to send solace and stand with the people of India at this hard time.
Thank you. Another question from Emily Rose of Reuters. Is there any comment on progress made in ceasefire talks and expediting the distribution of aid to northern Gaza?
Emily, thank you very much for the question. As far as the ceasefire talks are concerned, we have put our cards on the table. We have stated what we need very clearly, and we won't be negotiating via the media. We hope that there will be news, and when there is news, we will give it to you. But that would mean that Hamas has to come down from their delusional positions and come into our orbit, as the Prime Minister said, to reach a deal. I will say to anyone who is concerned about humanitarian issues and humanity in general, to call on Hamas to immediately, without any preconditions, without any conditions of any kind, to release the Israeli men, women, children, toddler and baby currently being held in Gaza. It is a crime against humanity, and those 134 Israelis must come home to their families. As far as aid into Gaza, northern and southern Gaza, I will stress again that there is no limit on the amount of aid. There is questions in certain areas, certain pockets as to distribution. We've already spoken amply about UNRWA and the problems there. We are working on a day-to-day basis to ensure that aid gets to the civilians of Gaza who need it and is not stolen by Hamas and their enablers.
Thank you. Question from Leah Soroka from the Washington Post. Turkish authorities have detained 7 people suspected of selling information to the Mossad, Israel's intelligence service, including a former Turkish public official. The state-run news agency reported Tuesday. Any comments?
So I'm sorry, I have actually not seen those reports, so I don't have anything to add.
Question from Jim Williams at Zenga International News Service, Washington, D.C. Are the food drops to Gaza by the US being coordinated with the Israeli government?
Of course. I mean, anything being dropped into Gaza needs to be coordinated with the Israeli government, and is being coordinated with the Israeli government.
Question from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Could you give us a sense of the proposal for a diplomatic solution to the problems on the northern border? Is the US proposing that Israel give up territory or move its own troops back from its international boundaries?
So fair play for the question, Joel, but we won't be negotiating through the media on this either. What I can say is that Israel is open and would be happy to reach a diplomatic end to the ongoing violence that we're seeing on the northern border from the aggression of Hezbollah. But that would revolve around the UN Resolution 1701. That would mean that they need to get back past the Litani River. These are not secrets. Everyone that is read up on the subject knows exactly where Hezbollah should be and shouldn't be. Now, if we can't reach, as I've said, if we can't reach a diplomatic understanding, then the military card is still very much ready to be played, and Hezbollah will regret having tried us. To quote the President of the United States at the beginning of the war, don't.
Question from Alon Avital at NPR. Can you please comment on the reports saying the talks in Cairo have ended without any breakthrough or agreement?
I don't have anything to add to those reports. I can reiterate again that the 134 Israelis are being held against their will. It is a crime against humanity, and we call upon the international community to immediately demand their immediate release. Now, what I can tell you historically, what we've seen until now, having already ensured the safe return of 112 of our people from the clutches of Hamas, is that one thing that works is military pressure against Hamas. Hamas understands military pressure, and we are bringing it to them. We have taken out 18 out of 24 Hamas battalions. We are moving forward with our mission, which, as stated from the beginning of the war, is to destroy Hamas, bring home every last hostage, and to ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to the state of Israel.
Thank you. Another question from Jim Williams at Zenka International News. Doesn't the UN report on sexual abuse by Hamas automatically qualify them for terrorism status as per the UN Charter?
I won't speak on behalf of the UN. As an Israeli, these things seem pretty clear. Hamas is a recognized terrorist organization in many, many capitals around the world, and rightly so. And we call upon the United Nations to put themselves on the right side of history and say what is clear to anyone who saw, who witnessed, who read about what happened on October 7th. Call it what it is. Hamas is a terror organization.
Final question from Jean-Philippe Rubin at Breslov Israel Media Group. Do you think that the fact that this war is taking place in the Holy Land, or close to the Holy Land, has spiritual significance?
The roots of the Jewish people to the land of Israel go back thousands of years. This war is not so much about history or religion. It is a war to defend our very existence. It is a war to ensure that Jewish men, women, children, Israelis, Muslims, Christians, Druze can walk the streets peacefully of Israel. It is a war with the aim of being able to look at our children in the eye when we put them to bed and say, "Don't worry, darling. Don't worry, monsters won't come for you in the middle of the night and take you into Gaza."
Thank you. That was the last question.
Thank you very much. Same time, same place tomorrow.
Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Dejobnik signing off.